I'm showing you how to make my gluten-free cranberry white chocolate chip cookies that look like they came straight out of a bakery. They're gluten-free with oat and almond flour and naturally sweetened with maple syrup and coconut sugar. They are bursting with flavor with your choice of fresh or dry cranberries, white chocolate chips, shredded coconut, and orange zest. They have a delicious hint of ginger and cinnamon with only a fraction of the sugar in the traditional version. We're going to use 2 mixing bowls, and we're going to start by combining our dry ingredients, which includes 1 cup of oat flour. Next we'll add 1 cup of almond flour, 3 tablespoons of coconut sugar, 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch or tapioca flour, and then we're going to combine half of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 a teaspoon of dried ginger, 1/4 a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 a teaspoon of salt. And then we'll want to whisk these together until they're well combined. And then we can set this aside. Now in our second mixing bowl, we want to combine our wet ingredients, which includes 1 egg, 1/4 a cup of coconut oil, 1/4 a cup of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1/8 of a teaspoon of orange extract, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then a tablespoon of orange zest. And you can just take an orange and your zester, and you can just zest it right into your bowl. And now we can simply add in our bowl of our dry ingredients. And then we'll mix these together until well combined. And now you have this very fluffy and fragrant cookie dough. I like to line my cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper because it makes it really easy for getting the cookies on and off of the baking sheet. Now what makes these cookies so delicious are the mix-ins. We're going to use coconut, cranberries, and white chocolate chips. You'll just need 2 tablespoons of shredded coconut, and then for flavor and aesthetic, I like to add a little bit more of the orange zest on top of the cookie. So I'm just going to take my zester and zest a little bit more of my orange so that I have it ready on my tray. Now for your cranberries, you could use either fresh cranberries or dried cranberries or even craisins as they're sometimes called, and it's whatever your personal preference is. I like using the fresh cranberries because then when you bite in, you get that little burst of cranberry juice. But the dried cranberries are also really delicious, so you get to decide. I find it works really well to use my medium-sized cookie scoop because then all of my cookies are a uniform size, and it also makes it really easy for getting the mix-ins on top of the cookie. Now you could just mix them all into your dough, which would be really quick and easy, but then they're going to bake inside the dough and you won't be able to get to see them as well on top. So a really easy hack for giving you the look of a bakery-style cookie is to go ahead and just sprinkle a few chocolate chips down into your scoop, as well as a few little strands of coconut, and then dip it right into the cookie dough, fill your scoop, and then scoop it right onto your baking sheet, and then all your chocolate chips are right on top. And then you can go ahead and push the chips around to help shape your cookie. And then we want to sprinkle on a little bit of our orange zest, which will be really beautiful and flavorful. And then for the cranberries, I like to cut them in half so that they're a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go ahead and just push them right into my cookie dough. So I'm going to push all the chips and the berries right down into the dough and then scoosh it all in around on the edges. And then we are going to have a very beautiful bakery style cookie. Well, these look absolutely gorgeous, and I know it was a little extra work having to press in the cranberries as well as add the orange zest on top, but I promise it will be worth it. Now these are ready to go into a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. Well, here's our first batch of cookies, and as soon as they came out of the oven, I placed the cookie sheet on my counter, and then I easily slid the cookies off of the cookie sheet and onto my cooling rack using the parchment paper. I love the size and the chunky shape of these cookies, and I love the lighter color that you get using the fresh cranberries versus the dried cranberries, and I love the color of the orange zest on top. Time to sample. That is delicious. The flavor keeps getting better and better. As soon as I bite in, I get that little burst of cranberry juice from that fresh cranberry, and then it's perfectly balanced by the sweetness of the white chocolate chip. And then getting a little bit of the citrus from the orange zest and the lemon juice just creates the most amazing flavor profile, all in a cookie. Now, of course, this is a treat. It needs to be eaten in moderation, but I love knowing that I'm eating something with clean, natural ingredients. They're gonna leave me feeling just as good even after I eat it. And it has only a fraction of the amount of sugar that is in a traditional cookie that would also have refined white sugar and white flour. Everyone can enjoy this cookie regardless of whether or not they have a gluten allergy. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen, and I've included a link to the full recipe, and it's in the video description below, which takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.